2 days before the wedding, Evan discovered his fiancée had secretly invited her ex and lied straight to his face about it. He didn't confront her. He didn't cancel anything. He let the wedding plans continue, already knowing exactly how this would end. It hit quiet, like a breath caught midair, just a name on the guest list, tucked between cousins and coworkers. Enough to make his chest go still. Mark Lawson. He hadn't heard it in years. She called him an old friend from college, said it casually while checking off RSVPs. But something in the way her eyes flicked away told him it wasn't casual at all. That night, the apartment hummed with soft light and the sound of her typing. She was building a mood board for the ceremony, lost in color palettes and table layouts. He sat across from her, smiling when she looked up, saying nothing. Later, when she went to shower, her laptop stayed open. The screen dimmed, then brightened as a new message came in. The preview was enough. You still make me nervous after all these years. He stared at it longer than he meant to. Not out of jealousy, more like disbelief, the kind that doesn't rush, just settles under your ribs and stays there. The chat started harmless, full of old jokes and remember whens, until one line changed everything. Can't wait to see you again. Just us. The air in the room felt heavier, like the lights had lowered without anyone touching the switch. He closed the laptop, quietly, the way you hang up a phone on someone you don't trust anymore. When she came back, wrapped in a towel, she talked about flowers. He nodded, calm, almost too calm. The next morning, over coffee, he asked if Mark's wife would be coming too. She hesitated, smiled a little too quickly, and said, "She's busy that weekend. Can't make it." Her tone was light, her eyes steady. He stirred his coffee once, twice, then said, "That's a shame." She kissed his cheek and went to answer an email. He stayed there, hands still on the spoon, watching the swirl of cream fade into the dark. Something in him had already decided what to do. The next few days felt like an experiment in silence. Every sound in the apartment seemed louder, drawers sliding, water running, her laugh through the wall. Evan moved carefully, testing how much truth a person could hold without saying a word. He went to work, smiled when people asked about wedding plans, sent polite replies to caterers. Everything looked normal. Inside, it wasn't. Chloe was radiant, too radiant. She hummed when she packed favors, checked her reflection often, laughed easily. Every so often her phone lit up, and she tilted the screen slightly away. That small movement was all he needed. It wasn't guilt, it was control. One night he stayed late at the office, sketching floor plans he didn't need to finish. The building was empty except for the low buzz of the AC. He stared at the lines on the page until they stopped being walls and started being choices. When he finally opened his phone, he didn't open her messages. He opened a browser, searched for Mark Lawson, found him in 2 clicks. Smiling with his wife, Rachel, in a recent photo captioned, "Ready for wedding season." She wasn't busy. Evan read the caption twice. Then he copied the image, stared at the date, and sat back in his chair. The room hummed softly, like it knew. He could have confronted Chloe right then, but confrontation would give her control again. What he wanted was clarity, not a fight, proof. He drafted an email. Simple, polite, no accusation, no tone. "Hi Rachel, I just wanted to make sure you and Mark received our wedding invite. Chloe mentioned you couldn't make it, but if that's changed, we'd love to see you both." He read it once, twice. Sent it. The clicks sounded louder than it should have. Driving home later, the radio played something upbeat, the kind of song that fills silence without asking questions. He didn't sing along. Chloe was already asleep when he got back, her phone face down on the nightstand. He looked at it for a long moment, then turned off the light. The next morning, an email pinged his inbox before sunrise. The subject line was simple. "Thanks, Evan. We'll be there." He smiled. Just once. Quietly. The rehearsal dinner was set in a converted barn just outside Charleston. White lights, linen tables, the kind of soft perfection Chloe loved. She moved through the room checking every detail, touching place cards like a conductor tuning her orchestra. Evan stayed near the back, helping the staff with last-minute seating changes. His laptop was open on a small wooden table, the updated chart glowing faintly. 2 new names sat side by side near the head table, Mark Lawson plus Rachel Lawson. He adjusted the font size once, not because it needed it, because his hands needed something to do. Chloe came up behind him, the faint scent of her perfume mixing with dust and citrus cleaner. "You're still tweaking that?" she asked lightly. "Just making sure everyone fits," he said, not looking up. She smiled, that practiced smile people use when they think the world is exactly as they planned it. "You worry too much." "Maybe," he said, "but sometimes the details matter." Later, while guests trickled in, he checked his phone again. One unread email from Rachel. "Looking forward to tomorrow. Thank you again for inviting us." He read it slowly, as if each word confirmed the quiet math he'd been running in his head. Chloe hadn't told Mark she'd lied to Evan. Mark hadn't told Rachel. Everyone believed their own version of the truth, and all of them would meet in one room tomorrow. He closed his phone, exhaled, and for the first time in days, felt still. Not calm, still. Like he'd reached the edge of something irreversible. When Chloe called from across the room, "Evan, could you help with the wine boxes?" He nodded, walked toward her, steady, unhurried. The music swelled in the background, warm and forgettable. No one noticed the faint sound from his phone, the quiet chime of Rachel's confirmation email syncing with his inbox. He looked at Chloe as she laughed with the planner, radiant under the hanging lights. She was already telling a story to someone, already performing. He poured himself a glass of water, not wine. His reflection in the glass didn't look angry, just ready. Tomorrow, everything would realign itself. The next evening arrived with the kind of heat that made shirts cling and tempers fade. Guests filled the rehearsal hall, laughter echoing against glass and wood. Chloe floated from table to table, her voice light, rehearsed, the perfect bride-to-be. Evan stood by the door, greeting people, his smile quiet but steady. At 6:40, the doors opened again. A soft gust of air followed two figures inside, Mark and Rachel Lawson. Mark looked a little unsure, his hand loose around Rachel's. She, on the other hand, was glowing, confident, graceful, genuinely happy to be there. Chloe froze. It was small, half a breath, but Evan caught it. The muscles around her mouth stiffened before she found the smile again. "Rachel," she said, stepping forward, voice too bright. "I didn't realize you'd." "Evan invited us," Rachel said warmly, cutting through her sentence without meaning to. "I was so glad. Mark thought I couldn't make it." Mark blinked. "That's what you told me," he said quietly. The sound in the room changed, not silence exactly, more like a drop in air pressure. Forks paused midair. A glass clinked somewhere, sharp and too loud. Someone laughed, quick, nervous, wrong. Chloe's smile faltered, rebuilt itself, faltered again. Evan stepped in then, smooth, calm, as if nothing strange had happened. "I'm glad everyone could make it," he said, raising his glass. "It means a lot to have you here." Rachel smiled. "We wouldn't have missed it." Across the table, Chloe's hand trembled as she reached for her drink. Mark's eyes were on her now, searching for something that wasn't coming. Evan held the moment just long enough, then took a sip. The chatter resumed. Uneven, awkward, but the current underneath had changed. The air carried static. Every small sound, a chair scraping, a spoon tapping glass, landed sharper than it should. Chloe excused herself halfway through dessert. She didn't look back. When the room finally settled, Evan leaned back in his chair, eyes on the candle in front of him. It flickered once, caught a draft, and steadied again. He didn't need to say a word. The truth had already done its work. The wedding was called off before sunrise. Guests woke to a short group text from Chloe. "Due to personal reasons, the ceremony will not take place." No details, no explanations. Just that flat, polite tone she used when something inside her had already collapsed. By mid-morning, the venue manager had cleared the chairs. The florist came to collect the centerpieces that never met their audience. Evan stayed to help, moving slowly through the space that was supposed to be his future. He carried boxes, folded tablecloths, thanked the staff. His voice was calm, almost gentle. People kept asking if he was okay. He kept saying yes. He didn't look broken. He looked empty of noise. That kind of stillness that comes only after a decision has finished doing its work. Later, in the quiet apartment, he packed the last of his things. The fridge hummed softly, filling the pauses. On the counter sat the ring receipt, folded in half. He placed it in an envelope and wrote, "Refund," on the front, small, neat handwriting. There was no note, no final message to Chloe. Some things didn't need words. When his phone buzzed, he almost ignored it. Then he saw the name, Rachel Lawson. Her text was short. "You saved me too." I didn't know they'd been texting again. He stared at the message, thumb hovering above the keyboard. Then he typed, "We both deserve to know." Sent it. The bubbles appeared for a moment, typing, then gone. No reply. He looked around the apartment one last time. The light from the window caught on the table, on the faint ring left by his coffee cup from that morning. The same spot where he'd once stirred and decided. Evan closed his laptop, the same one that had shown him everything weeks ago. The soft click echoed across the room. Outside, a moving truck engine started, low and steady. He picked up his bag, turned off the lights, and stepped into the hallway. Not triumphant, not broken. He closed the door behind him. Quiet, final, free.